president is recklessly headed to some kind of military, um, involvement in Venezuela that none of us have ever advocated for. Um, we don't want the party attached to this. So he's crossing a line. There's no line here. There's no Republicans objecting to this, really. He's just getting away with it. He's not going to go to Congress and ask for an AUMF for this Venezuela operation. They've been pretty clear about that. They think that he's covered under Article 2. And the Supreme Court would probably agree with them if it gets that far. So it's definitely a legal issue. I expect there to be some kind of challenge. But again, this would be a great issue for Republicans. Like, I keep going back to Lindsey Graham, who's been on the Armed Services Committee. He's been on Foreign Relations. Folks like that are just not weighing in, and they're certainly not criticizing the president. They just say things like, "Well, Maduro is a bad guy."
They're not what Green and some of the other extreme MAGA folks are, which now they're starting to call it AFAO, America First, America Only. And they're getting upset with Trump because he's still doing, and this is pretty obvious why, he's doing business with foreign governments and foreign leaders because he's making money. He and his family are making money off of it. So he's cozying up to Israel, of which I'm an Israel supporter, but there's a line there too as to how far you go. He's paying how many billions of dollars did he do the other day to, where was that, Argentina?
Yeah.
Right? And now he's picking a fight with Venezuela. So the far right MAGA folks who were really supportive of, we only want to look internally, we should only be dealing with America, get rid of these foreigners out of the country, only deal with Americans, they're starting to see that Trump is not aligned with them on that. But the Lindsey Graham and stuff like that, those guys aren't going to draw the line there because they that's something they would be interested in doing, not necessarily going to war against Venezuela, but they are not isolationists the way the far right MAGA would be. The line for what John's talking about should be about what looks to be illegal strikes on these boats and killing people with drones, which is how they're doing it, drones and missiles. That should be where folks like Grassley and Graham are saying, time out. I want to know more about this, and they're not.
Bottom line for me is it looks an awful lot like how Russia got into Ukraine.
And speaking of the America First, America Only crowd, keep an eye and an ear on them on Tuesday, because here comes MBS to the Oval Office, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. They're talking about all kinds of deals, a defense, almost treaty, but it's not going to trigger the treaty threshold. They're going to go right up to it. Pushing on Abraham Accords, normalization with Israel, and all tied up in that are these side deals. Cough, cough, Jared Kushner, cough, cough. So keep an eye on MTG and that crowd on Tuesday when Trump and MBS announce all kinds of agreements, because that's not America First. That is the definition of not America First.
Well, and we'll close with this. Jamal Khashoggi, the president of the United States, is dealing with MBS, who is, by all available evidence, the man who decided to pull the trigger on a journalist simply because he didn't like him and had him killed, drawn and quartered and incinerated. And we are doing business with that man. That's a great way to close the today's edition.